Germany is investigating potential Russian espionage. That's after Russian state media published what it claims is a recording of a conversation between high-ranking German military officers. They reportedly discussed the possibility of Ukraine bombing the main bridge linking Crimea to Russia using German cruise missiles. The bridge has already been attacked twice since the war began, but Berlin has refused to supply Kyiv with the long-range Taurus missiles cited in the transcripts of the conversation. Germany's defense ministry told DW it is looking into whether its communications were intercepted. The audio's authenticity is still yet to be officially confirmed. So now let's talk to DW political correspondent Emily Gordine, who is following this story for us. Emily, can you tell us a little bit more about what's actually in these recordings?
Yes, so like you said, we don't have any official confirmation yet, but one of Germany's public broadcasters has now actually reported that they are indeed real. Now, I've listened to this conversation, and what you hear is 4 officials from the German armed forces, 2 very high-ranking officials, one general, and the other one is the inspector of the Air Force, and they are discussing or are preparing for a meeting with the German Defense Minister Boris Pistorius, who wanted a deep dive into the Taurus, because the Taurus cruise missile has been in discussion in Germany for weeks. Will Germany send it to Ukraine? Will it not? And essentially in this meeting, they are discussing logistics, they're discussing the technical side of possible deliveries, they're discussing the effects of such deliveries, what could Ukraine actually target if it did get these cruise missiles. But they also say from the very beginning that there is no political green light for these deliveries. So these are all very theoretical discussions.
Now, we know the Defense Ministry has made some comment, but anything else from the government?
No. So far there has not been any public statements on the matter. We know that the German Bundeswehr, the German Armed Forces, the Defense Ministry is looking into the matter. But of course this raises big questions on the security of conversations. And we know that in this conversation, one of the people in this call was a general who was at the time in Singapore at it was a big air show there, and apparently they are said to have used the platform WebEx, which is not particularly safe.
No.
It is not a safe place to discuss matters that are of such sensitive nature. And so it raises the question of the security of conversations and how they are dealt with.
Right.
But we've also heard from opposition figures in the German political landscape who say that this also suggests that, what other conversations could be listened to by the Russians.
Totally. Now, how does this release of this audio impact potentially Germany's potential future decisions in terms of giving the Ukrainians that Taurus they so badly want?
Well, the content of this conversation seriously challenges the argument that Chancellor Olaf Scholz has been making for not sending Taurus missiles to Ukraine. Essentially, Chancellor Olaf Scholz has said in the past that Germany will not send these missiles to Ukraine because A, they could strike targets within Russia, and B, it would need German personnel on the ground in Ukraine helping Ukrainians program the missiles. Now, in this conversation, in this taped conversation, they basically say, well, actually, it would not require German soldiers on the ground in Ukraine, and that and that obviously questions a main premise from Chancellor Olaf Scholz in not delivering these weapons. So it raises a lot of questions. It also raises the question of did Chancellor Olaf Scholz know what he was saying there, or was he just trying to find an argument for not sending them? So essentially this does put the question of Taurus deliveries up in the air a little bit.
Very interesting. Emily Gordine, thank you so much for joining us. Let's talk to DW's Eastern Europe editor, Roman Gocharenko, who joins us now from the German city of Bonn. Roman, what's actually on the recording?
Well, what we can hear, we cannot verify it, of course, and we cannot say if the whole tape is, this recording is authentic, or maybe some parts of it were doctored. So what we hear is there are 4 high-ranking German officers, including one general, discussing the possible delivery of the Taurus missiles to Ukraine. They explicitly say that there is no political decision on that, but just in case there is one, they are preparing how this could be done. So they are talking about how long it would take, how many months, how many missiles could be delivered to Ukraine, the possible ways to deliver them. And of course, they are also discussing some targets. They are mentioning a bridge. They don't say it's a Crimean bridge, but it must be it. There is no other important bridge at the war zone at the moment.
Right.
And ammunition depots. So they say how many missiles could be needed to destroy that bridge. It is important to know that that bridge is on Ukrainian soil, so Ukraine has all the right to hit it with any missiles it has.
Now, Russia released these mystery recordings on the same day Navalny was buried. That a coincidence? And what's Russia playing here?
Well, some guess that it might be an attempt to distract attention from that funeral, but if it was so, that attempt has failed completely, because all Western media were full with coverage of Navalny's funeral. As for Russia itself, I don't think Russia was the target. The target was the Western audience. That's why it was the Russian international media outlet, RT, that published that recording. So the reasons for Russian authorities to do that must be different.
Now, does this leak, this unauthenticated leak, change the discussion on the Taurus? Of course, German Chancellor Olaf Scholz has put deliveries of the Taurus to Ukraine off the table.
Yes. So it is a very unusual move for Russia to publish that such information. And my guess is the only reason is that Russia is very much afraid of those Taurus missiles, that they are very effective, and Russia wants to do anything it can to stop a possible delivery. And it even doesn't believe the German Chancellor Olaf Scholz, who ruled out such a delivery. So they are probably thinking that by publishing that recording, they will undermine the political discussion in Germany. They will put more pressure on Chancellor Scholz, and which is also important, I think, that might also put some pressure inside NATO, because just a few days ago there were talks about delivering Taurus missiles, and Olaf Scholz said a few words about that, and he said no. Then there was the French President Emmanuel Macron talking about sending troops to Ukraine, and there is no unity in that question within NATO, within Germany and France. So by publishing this recording, the Russians are probably trying to stir the discussion within NATO, not just within Germany.
DW's Eastern Europe editor Roman Gocharenko, thank you very much.